Morning, Albs. It's day one of album recording in the Launchpad. But first... It's raining. 1 year ago, almost to the day, I filmed a video here. Good start to the day. What's this? Oh. Missy bird. It's going to be strange to be in that room today. I find it quite hard to walk in there at the moment. It's only been 6 days since my best friend left us. And he would always be in there in the mornings. I would go upstairs to find him waiting for me. Well, he'd be asleep, but he'd be waiting. He'd be ready and waiting to make music or videos or whatever. Always in his spot on the yellow rug. And before I had the yellow rug, he would just be on the chair or on the floor. Oh, Benji. How are you doing today, Beanie? Hi! Welcome to the Launchpad. Before I moved into this house, this was someone's bedroom, but I've transformed it into a multifunctional studio space where I spend most of my days. For the first episode of my Captain's vlog, do you get it? Captain, Launchpad, spaceship, anyone? For this first episode of my Captain's vlog, I want to take you on an honest studio tour. Now, I'm not saying that every minimalist studio tour on YouTube is not honest, not at all, and I really enjoy watching them. But I always wonder where all of their stuff is. What does behind the camera look like? Let me show you. It feels like a good time to start showing you behind the scenes of my creative process, because today I'm embarking on a pretty intensive album recording project. About 2.5 years ago, I was in Singapore teaching music production to some students for about a week. And I got an email from my friend Miles Hunt from The Wonder Stuff asking me if I'd be interested in collaborating on a musical project with a man called Rat from Ned's Atomic Dustbin. As a fan of the band, of course I said, yes please, and we started chatting. And now we have 11 songs ready to record, ready to share with you later this year. But let's talk about our album for a minute.
Cool, please, because I'm excited.
How do you feel about making an album now, in 2022?
Oh man, I mean, it feels brilliant. I mean, the songs that we've settled on are the right ones, definitely.
On my list here in the studio, I've got 1 in 1,000, Rubik, which I think needs to probably change its name because it's got nothing to do with Rubik at all. And in the lyrics, but it was a great, starting name. But I think that probably needs to change. But I don't know what that's going to change to yet. Not the Quiet Type. One of These Days, Next Summer, Old Kindnesses, Super Connected, and then there's Porcupine, which is, you haven't even heard this yet, have you? Like I've
not Porcupine yet.
No, I've got a chorus, and I want to send it to you when it's got a verse, because then it'll make sense. Obviously, much more sense than it just goes Porcupine. Then we've got Anger Replacement Therapy, which I've put as A.R.T.
I love that. Oh,
yeah, and Stand and Deliver, but I think they're probably. I want to finish Porcupine and I want to finish Art. But what I'm going to do first, my plan is just to get on with the bass for the ones that we've got drums for. Do that first.
Cool.
And then spend a bit of time on those two. And then start thinking about other things. So I've got these columns on my whiteboard now. Bass, synths, other, vocals, and then exported, which means I can keep a track of where I am with everything. But yeah, when I arrange songs, I just chuck a load of stuff on. And then I start taking it out again, And then, like I said to you, if you have lead guitar lines in your mind, or you're like, this bit I'm going to put something here, just tell me. And in any case, in the studio, we can mute whatever tracks so that they're not getting in the way of what you want to do. Does that make sense? Does that sound like a good way of doing it?
It does. Sounds fine to me.
Great.
There's a couple of ideas I've got on the ones we've passed in. I did try and write an email.
Yeah.
And it was so hysterical what I was writing. It was going, can we change it to bass, bass, snare, snare, bass, snare, from bass, snare, 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 bass, snare, snare. And I just read this email line and went, no, I can't do it this way.
It's hard, isn't it? It's so hard. Like, I think there's so much benefit to doing it the way we're doing it. And I really love recording this way. It's interesting for me recording doing a collaborative project this way, because I know when I'm doing it, there's no one to talk to. I don't have to check anything, and I'll just decide. And there's obviously pitfalls to that, because I can get a bit caught up in like, well, what do I like, what don't I like, and stuff. So it's great to have someone else to talk to. But equally, it's kind of like, how do we describe music to each other in an email? It's kind of difficult. If it's easy to just go boom, ch, boom, boom, ch, just do that, because no one thinks it's silly. We're all trying to describe something that's in the air. It's really hard.
Yeah, so we normally say they're going, can just have 2 dits and 1 crits with a in the middle of it.
Yeah, exactly.
And dits and crits and dish.
Yeah.
Bob.
But that's the thing, isn't it, about recording with a band for such a stretch of time? You get to know each other, don't you? And you know your shorthand, and you have your own shorthand. So then trying to find that with other people is tricky, but we're all friends. It's fine.
Exactly. Yeah.
In your mind, does the finished album sound like a band is playing?
Yeah.
It could just be bass, drums, and guitar, but I think it would be nice to elevate it a bit with a few more melodic things, that's all.
Oh, yeah, and I agree with that, definitely. Yeah.
It's become a really uplifting record, don't you think?
Yeah.
And it's weird for me, because I don't normally try. Well, I didn't try to write an uplifting record with you either. No offense. I think it's angry and frustrated and also uplifting, though. There's a lot of togetherness kind of feeling that's been coming out.
Yeah, and it's going to be fun in the studio, so you can hear my appalling language when I get things wrong. Because I swear, when I'm sitting here recording, especially in the summer, the window's open and I've got my headphones on, all the neighbours can hear is just a torrent of abuse at myself out of the window coming on. And they're probably thinking, I wonder if he's all right in there. And I'm berating loudly, going...
People could knock round and be like, I think you need to work on your self-esteem. It's really common, though. Just the fear of the recording button at all. The biggest problem I have recording here is that it's so easy to just go round and round and round, do another take, yeah. Because I'm just here and no one's going, well, you've probably got it, or it's lunchtime, or can we move this along? It's just me. This is why I've got this whiteboard up here, so I can be like, well, it's cool that I've done 52 takes of the bass chorus for 1 in 1,000, but there's quite a lot of other stuff I've got to get done quite soon, so I can't.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm a perfectionist either. I'm not trying to make something sound perfect. It needs to sound like a human played it. So it's not about, making it sound like a robot. Irony. It's about making it sound like a human. So that's my challenge.
It's that age-old saying, isn't it? Procrastination is the thief of time.
Ooh, that's a great one.
I think that's nicked from Dead Poet Society, but yeah, procrastination is the thief of time.
Thief of time. My other favourite, it's a very similar quote to that. Comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm very wise, Rat. Very wise. I don't know if you know that about me. Right, that's going on the computer now. Thank you. Procrastination is the thief of time. Genius. Right, speaking of which, I don't know if this is procrastination now, but why don't I get on with our album then? How about that?
Okay, cool.
Yeah?
Exciting.
Sound good?
Definitely.
Cool. Yeah. I'll be releasing a new episode of this vlog every Saturday until the album is recorded. So if you have any questions for me or Rat about the recording process or the album or anything else, just write them below and we'll answer them in a future video. It's time for me to start setting up my bass recording gear now. But before I do that, I want to share with you 2 books that I have found super helpful and encouraging over the past couple of years. I decided to reread this book yesterday in anticipation of showing my work. I've made 5 solo albums and I have shown my work along the way, but since launching the Penfriend project in May 2020, I've been trying to be a lot more deliberate about that. I'm absolutely fascinated by seeing how other people make things. I'm really keen to invite people into the process of making this album so I can show you how I do things as a music producer working from my home studio, and I can introduce you to the songs that Rat and I have written together over this period of time, and introduce you to Rat when we go into the studio to record his guitars in a few weeks' time. We are working to a tight deadline because of the availability of our very talented mix engineer Dan Austin. Plus, we just want to get this album recorded and out this year, so I only have 19 weekdays to get all of my stuff recorded before we go into the studio. In the past, I have gone into studios to record all of my parts, but over the past few years I have been recording more and more at home, and my last solo album, Exotic Monsters, was completely recorded in this room. The first 2 Obey Robot songs were recorded in the same way, and this book, Guerrilla Home Recording, was a great help to Rat, who hadn't recorded himself at home before. Now, Rat did a brilliant job of recording his guitar parts for those 2 songs, but it's a lot of extra work. And while I am very happy to nerd out and do all of my own engineering and my own editing and all of that stuff, it's not for everyone. And so we're going to be recording all of his guitars in the studio with Dan Austin. The reason I recommend this book to anyone who is making music is because I think everyone can benefit from learning even just a little bit about recording. There are some fantastic skilled engineers and producers out there, and you can get a very different result if you have a load of people in a room coming up with stuff and working together. But even if you want to go that route and you have no intention of recording yourself to the level where you would release that recording, there's still so much you can learn about the process that will help you in the studio. It's really hard to describe music, really difficult to describe what's in your head and translate that to someone else's brain so that they can help you create that thing. It can also be really hard to finish a song from start to finish. So if you can learn to record yourself even at the most basic level, then I think it just opens up all of these possibilities for you. And if you're interested in taking it further, there's scope for that as well. I've learned pretty much everything I know from just doing it and doing it and doing it again, watching YouTube tutorials, reading this book, and just practicing and practicing and practicing. I absolutely love the freedom that these skills give me. I can spend as long as I like in this room tinkering with sounds and getting things to exactly where I want them to be. And I just don't think I would ever feel that free in a studio with the clock ticking and money pouring out of my bank account. I'll put links to these books in the description box if you're interested. Thank you for joining me for my first Captain's vlog, and I hope to see you next week.